Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. Today is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. I'm Gianni Di Poce, your host, and we are in the middle of a holiday trading week. Markets in the United States will close early tomorrow at 1 p.m. before the markets will be closed entirely on Friday in observance of Independence Day. And so we're seeing some new all-time highs today in some of the markets. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in the Dow. The Dow is not quite at a new all-time high, but we're only about, I'd say a little bit more than 1% away from hitting a new all-time high. Yesterday, we saw a massive shift in leadership. Technology was actually hit pretty hard. The Dow assumed leadership, but today, the script was flipped back to the original one, meaning that the NASDAQ 100 is doing the best, just a couple of days off of its all-time high. This is shaping up to be a pretty strong rally, but we are seeing a new all-time high in the S&P 500 today, being led higher by some nice moves in stocks like Apple. Apple finally coming back alive. You also have Nvidia a couple of days off of its all-time high. So overall market looking pretty strong. Semiconductors are making a new high as well if you look at the semiconductor ETF, and that's pretty important. We have also discussed the quantum computing sector, which also is at a new all-time high. So the technology theme remains strong, and I think it's something that we need to pay particularly close attention to right now. And the reason why is because on Monday, July 7th, we're going to have Uranus ingressing into the sign of Gemini, and that's going to put Uranus and Pluto within orb of that trine aspect. Now, the first exact aspect is not until early next year. I believe it's in February. There's going to be five exact trines between Uranus and Pluto. But between Uranus and Gemini and Pluto and Aquarius, that's pretty strong for the tech sector. Innovation, new inventions, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, you know it, you name it. It's all looking pretty strong. But near term, we have another really interesting signature coming up, and that's the conjunction between Venus and Uranus. And I have my sights specifically on crypto on this matter because you're seeing a big rally today. And, we talked about Venus being in Taurus for Bitcoin and how it often corresponds to 20% or greater moves. Well, we have not seen that 20% or greater move yet. So the study could fail. It works about 80% of the time. 20% of the time it doesn't, but we would have to get above 118,000 or so in Bitcoin for that to be satisfied. Now, on the same day Venus goes conjunct Uranus, which is this Friday on the 4th of July, Neptune goes retrograde. Neptune is one of the most powerful planets to correspond with reversals in financial markets. That doesn't mean the day of. We allow an orb of influence, but keep that in mind as stocks, and crypto are at highs here. Ethereum also seeing a solid rebound today, trying to lift up higher off of this base. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. And that's not the only signatures that we have, because on Monday, the same day that Uranus goes into Gemini, we have another Venus aspect, a trine to Pluto. So pretty powerful astrology right now. Strong geocosmic signatures that could lead to big moves, climactic moves in one direction or another. We have seen the rally in bonds stall, but there are some, short-term cyclical considerations we are looking at here. So we'll be discussing and updating members on that in the daily and weekly reports. Of course, crude oil still consolidating its losses for the most part, coming up off a higher low. Decent rebound. Actually, this must have just started. Decent rebound here in crude oil, so something to keep an eye on there. Gold and silver still chopping around. As a rule, when a market goes sideways near the highs, that is bullish price action. Silver looking a bit stronger than gold. There are some cyclical considerations in play here that we have been monitoring closely in the daily and weekly reports. We'll be updating those outlooks here shortly. And then, of course, there is the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar, which is still rather weak, but could perhaps be due for a summer rebound. We'll be monitoring that closely, while the dollar yen, every time we get a rally, seems to fizzle out, and that could play a part in U.S. stocks making a comeback relative to their international peers year to date. Keep in mind that the last 6 months, international stocks, markets like Poland, Germany, Even Greece. Greece is actually the best performing market internationally year to date, have been doing substantially better than the US market. And part of that has to do with the dollar being weak. So we'll continue to watch that. But in the meantime, take some time this weekend to enjoy the very, I think, pleasant astrology. Venus conjunct Uranus. That's fireworks, guys. If you're in the US, enjoy the fireworks. Neptune, you know, keep the drinks flowing within moderation, I suppose, but also good for some mind altering activities, I suppose. But have fun, stay safe. We'll be back next week. Just as a friendly reminder, we are in the final days of the early registration window for the Merriman Market Timing Academy, which is going to begin on September 27th. So send us a note if you are interested in learning all the ins and outs of financial astrology and financial market timing, because that is what we do here at MMA. And that's all we have for now. So please like the video, hit the subscribe button. We have weekly updates and look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.